I am so proud and excited to introduce to you the Senior Consultant of NATO. Please, everybody, Michel. Thank you, Michel.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
What would have been Salvador Dali without his unmistakable style? Salvador Dali, he painted dreams. And any one of you who's seen 2 or 3 paintings by Salvador Dali will recognize any of the 1600 that he painted. Salvador Dali had great style. He also had great style in his real life. He was eccentric, humorous, a bit megalomaniac. I love Salvador Dali because people can understand better the connection I'm going to make between style and the person. Dali the man, Dali the style. Style is so important, and that is what I'd like to talk with you. I want to share a few insights with you about why is style so important, what is style, and how you can work on it. I want to help you raise your awareness about your own style, for you to make a difference. Because style should not happen by accident. Style should happen by design. Many people think of style as something ornamental. It's an accessory. That guy walks that way, he has splashy ties. There is truth in that, but we know that it's only part of the truth. Coming to you, leaders, style is not a desirable accessory. Style is essential to leadership. It's not that a leader without style is a second-rate leader. My point is that he's not a leader at all. We've all seen that. Some people have great style, some people have dismal style, but no style. Can you think of anyone who succeeded in life who had no style? I'm sure you'll recognize that I've much improved with time. Style is a dynamic notion. You evolve with time. And that's something, of course, I learned in the military. As a young, good-looking lieutenant, I commanded 25 legionnaires. The style was different from 130, and then later 900, and then as a general 8,000. But in my life, as I developed in my career, there are some core values that I kept, some things that I dropped, some things that I changed. A little story. As I was preparing to command my squadron, 130 men, I had a beer drink, with a Romanian sergeant whom I'd commanded in my platoon a few years earlier. And he told me, you know what, Captain, the second squadron, they are not looking forward to being commanded by you. You frighten them. Me? Me? I frightened them? That's a crazy idea. From what he explained, I understood that I had the reputation of being something of an extremist, a cerebral guy, and nothing would stop me once I had made up my mind. I didn't agree with him in the sense that I didn't believe he was right. I am not that hard-headed, and I wasn't at the time. But I could get the point. So I decided to work on it, to be more consultative, to explain things more if I had time. And I changed that part of my style. And I think it served me well. 2 years later, when I relinquished command, they were less frightened of me. So style is dynamic. It's not a once and for all choice. You work on it continuously. Some things you keep, some things you drop, some things you change. Style is what defines you. Style is unique. It is you. I have style. You have style. Some have more style than others. Some styles are more appealing than others. But style is unique. It is you, and you can't fake. Style is not an envelope around you. Style is inside you. It is part of you. Quite often, you have that discussion about personality, about it's a conjunction of the innate, what you are born with, like the color of your eyes, and the acquired, what you develop over experience. So when I say style is part of you, you could say, yeah, well, what part? In my view, it's in the acquired part, mostly, the one you develop. Now, very often, I meet people talking style, and they say, I can't change my style. I'm like that. I can't change my style for the same reason I can't change the color of my eyes. What that means is that whatever style you have has happened by accident, because you forgot that you could work at it. So that's a very important idea, that style is the acquired part of you, and that you need and that you can work at it. So that style doesn't happen by accident, but by design. Damn it. Now I'm going to talk about components of style: persona, charisma, and achievement. One, persona. I love this photo of Einstein. Einstein, the genius of well, the generation before me, okay? I'm talking to Generation Z there. Einstein, remember the name, huh? So, Einstein. He changed modern physics and our understanding of the universe. As a Nobel Prize winner, he could have walked around like an emperor. And yet, he had great humor and great spirituality. At the beginning was, I suppose you recognize him, one last thing, Steve Jobs' enfant. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was not born the Steve Jobs we all know about. He became the Steve Jobs. As we grow in our lives, we change, we develop intellectually, professionally, spiritually. Ultimately, who we are is a reflection of who we decided to become. And that should not happen by accident, but by design. I'm going to take a few qualities, because you're going to build on qualities that you have, and you're going to kind of sort out problems, qualities that you may not have. It's a choice. So I just use 3 qualities as examples of interest to the military. Daring. Now, we all understand that if you need daring in the military life, especially if you're fighting outnumbered. Daring is a way of being comfortable with risk and danger. Now, that's not only in the military, by the way. I'm sure it applies to you, to your professional and private lives. You can practice daring. We do that in the military by sports like skydiving, horse riding, mountaineering, commando course. But the more you practice daring, the more you realize it's not in the physical world. It's in the intellectual. It's the daring to take decisions. And we all take decisions in our lives. For example, Laurent Fuchs of Uniceo. Where is he, Laurent? Laurent, really. He was looking for a keynote speaker here. He went looking for a Frenchman. Now that's a bizarre idea. And a former general. Now that's really crazy. I believe Laurent showed great daring in inviting a guy like me to talk with you today. Join me in the hands for Laurent. Laurent, for your daring. Early in my life, I realized, if I did not believe in myself, why would my legionnaires believe in me? Now, of course, you develop your skills and competencies to be sure that you know what you need to do. But the real question is, will you do it under pressure or under fire? And for that, you work on anticipation, preparing for different options, and that's what we're going to play this evening. And when even that doesn't work, anticipation, then reactivity. The idea that whatever goes wrong, you'll fix it. You're good at fixing it. So for you, your self-assurance, to what degree is it based on the certainty that you're better under stress? I like his eyes. Whatever happens, the mission goes on. Of course, in the military, all our armies have great stories of resilience, you know, the battle to the bitter end. Resilience is a collective virtue. We all know that our organization is only as strong as its weakest link. And that applies to all of us. In his eyes, I read, the mission goes on. You can kill me, but you can't defeat me. That is true in your events. I'm sure you have events that are crashing, that are really going badly. By the way, there's a song for that. The show must go on. The show must go on. For you also. The show must go on. You'll eat your bowels and you'll make it happen. And that is resilience. Now, I've just discussed 3 qualities. Of course, there are tons of qualities to discuss. I'm not saying that red is better than purple or green. I'm just saying that you need to define your own colors of persona. The qualities that have most meaning to you. 2, charisma. Charisma is the inner strength that makes you influential. I suppose most of you have seen the film Gladiator. For those who haven't, General Maximus here, well, he becomes a slave and a gladiator, and for his first fight as a gladiator, he realizes that his side is there to be massacred. He has other ideas. So he collects the gladiators around him, and he does, instant course on this is how the Legion fights. They do the tortoise, and eventually they win. His leadership saves their skins. No one is born charismatic. You become charismatic by working at it, by willing it, by being tested and raising to the challenge. In my earlier years, I decided I needed to be more charismatic. I want to be charismatic. Is that your case? What if you all say with me, I want to be charismatic? Come on, together. I want to be charismatic. I didn't hear much of it. Say again. I want to be charismatic. Right, brilliant. Let's go and meet the other gladiators. Courage is an important element of charisma. You can't have charisma if you don't have courage. And I like how Winston Churchill talks of it. For us, courage is not the physical sort most often. It's, for example, speaking up when you need to speak up. If one of your customers is behaving badly with one of your employees, right, it's a customer. You have a difficult relationship. Yes, but the employee belongs to you. So you fight for the employees like you would fight for your children. So you're polite about it. Look, Mr. so and so on, please don't address my people that way. That takes a little courage from time to time. In '97, I was in Bosnia with my first NATO mission, and I was military, damn it. Sorry, it's more. I was military assistant to a general, French general, commanding multinational division Southeast. Mostly French, German, Italian, Spanish, and 11 other nations. And working next to the staff, I realized that many of my French comrades were not playing the NATO way. They were using the national shortcuts, going up the chain. When they wanted to push an idea, they talked up the French. That's bad manners. So I tried to change it, but sometimes they wouldn't hear it. So at one point, I went to talk to my general. So, I knock at his door, toc, toc, toc. Mon général, are you ready to hear a few horror stories? So he was seated at his office, at his desk, having a cigarillo after lunch. Say, yeah, if you bring me coffee. And he left me standing, so, yep. So I told him a few horror stories. And as I was talking, I got cranked up. I told him, mon général, you can't let that happen. I mean, ultimately, you've got to bang heads, collect the French, you need to, listen, blah. And he was looking at me. Hey, Yako. Yakovlev is my name in French. It's Yako. Yeah. Hey, Yako, remember one thing. I'm the general commanding this division, not you. Okay. His school, we got on very well, by the way. I always valued having subordinates who would have the courage to speak up to me. Most of them were polite or humorous. Sometimes they were nasty, but it's a great value. When you have subordinates who talk up to you, do you value their contribution? Even if ultimately you believe they're not right, at least they speak up, just as you need to speak up to your own boss. And then achievement. There is a relation between achievement and style, because achievement contributes to your style, and style contributes to your achievement. Mother Teresa, not a military hero, she said, if you can't feed 100 persons, then feed just one. She was that poor little woman from Albania, and she achieved so much, one by one. Achievement comes in many forms, and not necessarily the most glorious or financially rewarding. By the way, talking of her style, was she like Gladiator? No. Her style was built on humility, selflessness, and steel. By example and virtue, she put pressure on world leaders to the point they didn't dare say no to her. That's why I love Mother Teresa. She had great style, and it shows that style is not only for the alpha males. So I've discussed three components. There are more, but for me the main, persona, charisma, achievement. The main components for me of style. But that is not style. They are the tools. Just like Salvador Dali I started with. He has the paint, the brush, the canvas, the light of the day, his idea, and he's preparing to paint a dream. Here we have charisma, persona, achievement. They are the tools. But you need to do the creation, the work of art. You need to work at it. They are only the tools. Your style is a creation, and you've got to think of it that way, as a creation that you've got to start on. And it's a creation, so it's not by accident, it's by design. So we've talked about why style is so important and the main elements of style. Okay, how do we work at it? So I'd like to discuss introspection, inspiration, and projection. Introspection, you go into your inner self to think of the qualities you have that you're going to build on, and the, let's say, the imperfections that you may need to address. Now, you don't need to address all of them. You know, quite often it's your little defects that make you lovable. So we're not talking perfection in style, we're talking authenticity. Introspection did not come naturally to me. I was lucky to meet, a Romanian sergeant, a captain, and others who did some extrospection. They helped me. But when you do introspection, for example, when you think of an event, here again, crisis, that went badly, how did you, it's not perform, it's behave. How did you behave under stress? Did you add to chaos, or did you calm things down? Did you diffuse serenity? Did anyone tell you? Inspiration. Here's one for Generation Z. It's the idea that there is experience out there that is just waiting to be collected. I've used a number of examples, generals, artists, Mother Teresa, and so on. I'm inspired by all of them for different reasons. I'm inspired by this general, General Lanrezac, for me, the unsung hero of 1914. In August 1914, he saved the French army, he saved France by disobeying completely. And it's a funny story. Imagine I'm the map of Europe, okay? So you have the French army commanded by General Joffre. Now he's famous. I would have found much better photos of General Joffre. Was a raid. So Alsace, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth Army was on the border of Belgium. And General Joffre, his plan was attack straight forward, we're going to Berlin. The German plan was to take care of Joffre's effort and circle round the French army via Belgium. As soon as it started, Lanrezac, who was there facing Belgium, realized. So he told General Joffre, General, your plan 17 it was called, is dead. The German main effort is coming through Belgium. And Joffre was fixated on his plan and he wouldn't have any of it. Came a moment where General Lanrezac took his car, drove hours to go to the headquarters of General Joffre to explain him again that you are mistaken. They are going to wrap us round. And Joffre said, no, and I confirm your orders. Your orders, mon général, are to defend the border of Belgium sans esprit de recul, meaning, not 1 meter. And he got suspicious. So he had the order typewritten, he signed it, and he produced it to General Lanrezac, and there was a number of staff officers around. You got the orders, correct? Yeah. General Lanrezac traveled back to his headquarters, collected his commanders, his subordinates, and he gave orders for a fighting retreat. A fighting retreat, not defense of the border, a fighting retreat. So during a few days in August, the German right wing was trying to encircle the French, but they were slipping down. So for a few days, Lanrezac disobeyed completely, clear, explicit written orders. In doing so, he saved the French army and he prepared the conditions for the Battle of the Marne, the victory of the Marne. For his efforts, he was sacked. Joffre never acknowledged that Lanrezac had, in essence, saved his ass. This is what I love in General Lanrezac. The lesson I get from him, in this case, is that the ultimate measure of loyalty could very well be disobedience. But you don't disobey out of caprice or to establish your intellectual superiority. You disobey for a noble cause. For example, if you want to save your country. And that's a lesson that I brought to my officers. Now, talking of inspiration, I'm surprised at how people are surprised at the question of inspiration. Who inspires you? Generally, I go, why is he asking that question? Who inspires you? So, easy one, Napoleon. I'm done, saying, Napoleon. Right. What inspires you in Napoleon? An achievement, a trait of character? So my friend is there, the general is out there, he's got to find something, So he finds his spirit of decision. Spirit of decision. Very well. Well, how do you intend to work on your style since you are inspired by Napoleon in his spirit of decision? Generally, it's the end of the conversation. Now, I'm surprised at how often people, if I ask, who inspires you? The silence is so long that I realize that it's the first time you hear that question. Who inspires you? Who inspires? Okay. Thanks. Who inspires? Why? What for? These are the questions. Think about it for the next 45 years. And then projection. It's a very simple idea. Who do you want to become? I'm not talking of your next career step. I'm talking of you as a life, as a moment in history, someone that people will remember. And there I go back to all my pencils. You are the work of art that needs to be created. And you are the artist that's going to create it. You are the painting, and the painter. That's what I call projection. And it takes time, just like it takes time for a tree to grow. And always be sure that you grow and that you grow upwards towards the sun. It's not an easy path. I'm not saying it's easy. And if I could help Winston Churchill, I'd say that continuous effort about my style is the key to unlocking my potential, so that it does not happen by accident, but by design. So I've taken my example, the initial example from Dali, a painter. I did it on purpose. I was sure you would all want, you expected the general. Well, okay, let's have one. Napoleon. In the art of war, there's very clearly, visibly, there is style. Generals have style, a way of doing battle. And there are some battles that are considered true works of art for the same reason that an opera or Mozart's Requiem is a work of art. Some battles are works of art. Now, Napoleon, that guy there, ultimately, he lost. So, is he remembered because of his victories? No, since he lost. He's remembered because of his style. And that's a lesson that we bring to our officers. And work on your style through your experience and through inspiration, Napoleon or others. Work on your style. And all the generals I've read about, and not only the French, they had style, and it was deliberate. They chose to work at it. Style is what defines you. It's a mixture of persona, charisma, achievement, what you built. It's a deliberate choice. You start with introspection, then inspiration, until you can project into your own future. You must think of yourself as the painting waited to be painted, and the painter, the artist and the art craft. So now I hope I've helped you start on the work for your style. You are your own work of art from now on. It's a long journey, and it's a pleasant journey. Become the masters of your style to become the masters of your destiny.